Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. The Iridiates are here. Dom and Jam, how you doing, guys?
Good, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Hope everyone's all right.
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad at all. What t-shirt you got on today, Dom? I can't see your t-shirt.
It's Bob Hoskins from Long Good Friday.
And Jam, everyone's like cold today. What you got on, Jam?
Yeah, mine's a Union flag. It's my brother got it from a Hard Rock Cafe for me when he went to London the other week. So it was very nice.
I was only saying, I thought you might like this t-shirt, Dom, especially. Big Kahuna Burger.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's what?
Big Kahuna Burger. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Oh, why would I like that?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Honestly.
I don't know. I did go to Burger King, obviously.
I'm getting worse. I'm getting worse, but your film taste is just, getting worse and worse for me. Anyway,
we're not here to talk about movies. God damn it!
No, we're here to talk about All Killer, No Filler, Total Frustration, aren't we? So we're up to 1999 now. Of course, the rules. I know it just seems you're probably thinking, "Shut the fuck up, you two." But the rules have got to be said. The rules for All Killer, No Filler, Total Frustration are we get to a certain year, up to 1999, obviously. So all our album releases that we pick songs off of have to be from that year. And also we can't pick the same album. So that'd be too easy, wouldn't it? So we have to have different albums. And also the track listing has to match the track listing of the original track listing. So it gets harder and harder, doesn't it? It really fucking does. But I must say, on my list, I've had to do a lot of research again because of my
a little bit
because of, as I say, my wandering in the wilderness of music. It wasn't good at that time, but
you were too busy going to raves, mate.
I never listen to me, I never fucking did that. I was always no, it was always rock and metal, but not, it was a lot less, I suppose, just a few bands I used to listen to and they wasn't really fitting into what I listen to now. So a difficult list, but I must say the music is great. The stuff I've got on my list, and it seems to be getting stronger and stronger. Me and Jan were talking just before you came on, saying that it seems to be getting back every year, back to what we're, the great music that we're getting now, I would say. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You mean that grunge and new metal are dying a slow death? Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, new metal. I think grunge is near enough fucking gone there, isn't it? Really, near enough. New metal is sort of on the verge of sort of coming and going very quickly anyway. But we've got 10 tracks though still to talk about. Because we're up to 1999, that means Dominic is first with his track 1.
Yes, odd year.
Odd year.
Okay, well, I'm not changing my stripes. No way. Number 1 for me is Slaughter.
Yes.
Yeah, Slaughter is their 5th and final album, and it's called Back to Reality. Their 4th one, Revolution, was a bit, I wouldn't say it was alternative, but they were definitely put some psychedelia in there and stuff, and they were trying to do something different, but it didn't work. So obviously this is called Back to Reality because it's what they do best. This is called Killin' Time, opening track, obviously. Just exactly what you want from Slaughter with a killer opening track. They've done it 4 out of 5 albums. And this is another one. Now, this is the first one with their guitarist, Jeff Blando, because their previous one, Tim Kelly, he died in a car crash. So for the fifth album, they got a new guitar player, but they didn't really lose a step. So really good, riffy, if you've heard Slaughter, you know what they do. And Killin' Time is a great fucking track. So comes out blazing. So there you go.
Cool. I mean, you haven't lost a beat, mate, over these fucking barren years. I tell you, you really haven't, have you? It's very cool. Very cool indeed.
I mean, it was, you definitely had to do some research. And I was working in record stores at the time, so I would see new release sheets and stuff. So I would know when some of these albums were coming out,
Well, that's
the internet, before, you know.
That's who I blame then. I blame the media, in other words, the magazines, for not telling me about this stuff. That's who I fucking blame, because what else they were going on about, you know, grunge and alternative and new metal. Yeah, so there you go. It's not my fault. Right, okay, great track, mate. To you, Jam, for your track one.
Okay, well, I'm going with a band called CKY. Strange band. Obviously, Jess Bagheera, which is Bam's brother from Jackass, but I think he's the older brother, actually. So a lot of this music is played during the Jackass television series, and that. Not I was a massive fan. I did watch it, but you know, that's not why I found this band. I always found it a bit weird because the writing for CKY was always stylized like Ozzy Osbourne. So I thought there was something to do with it for a long time, obviously. But yeah, there is internet at this point, but you know, I wasn't quite sure what it was. Like CKY, what's that got to do with Ozzy? Because it's almost the same sort of writing. Anyway, so this is from Volume 1. Their first album, and 97 Quite Bitter Beings. How do you describe CKY? I'm not sure. I suppose you'd call them skate music just because that's, I suppose, what they're associated with. But I don't know. It's just a bit of rock for me. And this song is, it's got a lot of memories. As always, I harp on about Down Low, but you know, it's the big festival in the UK, and they're opening the stage. I think it was the second stage, perhaps 5-6 years ago, and we were walking up and everyone's getting excited because it's the first band of the day, and you could just hear everybody started singing, which is the riff of the actual song, and it's just got some good memories for me. And not a massive CKY fan, but this song is probably their standout signature song. So there you go. 97 Quite Bitter Beings, CKY.
I mean, I suppose we was that sort of skatey, punky sort of stuff. I don't know if they were that, because I never actually heard any of their stuff, but that was also fucking hell, MTV, or if you could call it MTV, was filled up with that sort of stuff, wasn't it? Yeah. Not MTV, but Scars and stuff like that was filled up with that punky sort of stuff at the time, for sure. Okay, well, I haven't heard of this song, but I've obviously heard of the band. So, but I'm not really a compilation fan. I don't know about you guys. I just never have been. I've always just liked the studio albums. So a couple of compilation albums were brought out by Alice in Chains on this year. And Best of the Box compilation was brought out, and an unreleased track called Get Born Again was track 1 of this. So straight away I was thinking, oh, Alice in Chains. I had a look because I was looking at the albums of the year to see if there was any unreleased tracks, and sure enough, track 1 was. And it's a great track, unmistakably Alice in Chains. Haunting, doomy, fucking weird video. I mean, really fucking weird. I can't even make out what's going on there. There's all these people with things coming out of their face. Fucked up, really fucked up. But it was as those typical Alice in Chains melodies going through them, you know, the harmonizing vocals with Jerry and Lane. And fantastic song. So discovered this one. So I'm quite happy about that. It would have
shut that out, I think.
I'm not saying it would have, I would say, because I wasn't a huge fan of the Three-Legged Dog album or the Alice in Chains album. I mean, I liked it, but I think this was better than anything on that, in my opinion. So there you go.
So was this like an outtake from one of the earlier albums then?
I don't know if they made it just for this album, you know, just as because some bands do that, don't they? They get a song ready just for that album. When did Lane actually die? What year did he die?
A bit later than you think, actually. 2005, possibly. Perhaps a bit later. Yeah.
So
in the 2000s, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, he was in good. His voice was really good on this. I don't know when they actually recorded it, but his voice was really good, obviously, on this song. Okay, so that's my track 1. Alice in Chains, Get Born Again. So it might not be one you've heard before, because it's one of them ones that's stuck on a compilation. Very good.
You don't know it either, Jam.
Sorry, mate?
You don't know it, Jam?
No, I was just saying, no, I need to check that one out, I think. I'm surprised I didn't find that myself, actually. But I'm sure I've got it. I just probably haven't heard it. I'm sure it's on my iTunes somewhere.
Yeah, great track. Great track. Check it out. Okay. Dom, back to you, mate, for track 2.
Okay. Track 2 is a band we've spoken about a bit on here, but not from me. This is a band that started out great, and I just think that within seconds they turned into something I didn't really like very much. This is the Black Crowes. Love their first album, love their look, so much energy. I saw them very early on that first album tour. They were really good, but then they just quickly turned into like this hippie jam band, and just wasn't into it at all. But this is their 5th album. It's called By Your Side. And a track I picked is Stop Kicking My Heart Around. And man, they knew they needed to do something, because I think the album sales every album was selling less than the previous one. So he got the fucking shag haircut again. He started wearing the boas and the little suits, looking sharp as fuck. So they pretty much changed their tune for this album. It didn't really work in their favor because it didn't sell any better or worse than any of their other ones. For me personally, as a fan of their original look and sound and everything, this was a return to form for me. So I just want to give them a shout out for at least trying to recover past glories. I remember seeing them, of all things, doing a Super Bowl pre-show concert when this album came out, and they just fucking looked fantastic, and he's just giving it all, and it was really good. It was kind of like a rebirth for the band, in my eyes at least. But anyway, so that's number 2, Black Crowes. Cool. Stop Kicking My Heart Around.
Excellent. Cool. Cheers, mate. With the Black Crowes, I'm a bit weird. I've heard songs and I like a lot of them, but I suppose it's just the singles and stuff I've heard. I haven't really never delved into them, and I should do, because they're southern sounding, aren't they? And I like a bit of that. But I don't know. I don't know why I haven't delved into it more, but maybe I should. Because there's too much fucking music. That's why.
Yeah. You're only making about 30 videos a day.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to make fucking more. I don't want to do 31. That's just too much.
You've created a monster with this channel.
I know. I just can't help myself. It's a bit of an obsession now. If something new comes out and I'm going to miss it, I'm like, oh my, I'm thinking about it. I'm at work thinking, when am I going to be able to do that? And then what I mean, the good thing about some of the videos, they don't take long to do. It literally, reactions especially, you can literally take from doing them, from actually recording them to having them up, can take like an hour. So it's quite easy, I'm not into all this editing shit. You know me, I'm just very simple. Anyway, great track. Black Crowes, give them a shout out after all them years, mate. Well done. So, Jam, what you got, mate?
Okay, I'm going with, can be more different from the Black Crowes, actually. A one-off album by a band called Control Denied, which was the singer, or well, I suppose the main bloke from Death, Chuck Schuldiner. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Unfortunately, he's actually no longer with us. Had a brain hemorrhage and died a few years ago now. But I mean, Death are one of the original death metal bands. I'm not into death metal, and they've done some classic albums like Leprosy. I think was supposed to be really good, and a few of their albums. But there's a fascinating documentary, I think it's on Amazon Prime, called Death by Metal, which is all talks about Chuck and his life. And
it's a great documentary. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's really good. I mean, even if you're not into the music, it's worth watching because it's very interesting. He was a bit difficult to work with, apparently, and he was single-minded. I think he did the first Death album was pretty much him on his own, recording everything. Anyway, but Control Denied are a bit more thrashy, proggy. Certainly there's no extreme vocals on this or anything like that. It's really technically really, really good album. And just on the back of the documentary is where I heard this album. And this song, Breaking the Broken, I think there's a video to it, is typical of that album. It's say proggy, thrashy, no extreme vocals, it's a proper song. It's got some long time changes in it. It's really technical, and it's just a great song. And it's certainly worth watching the documentary if you've never seen it. Death by Metal, I think it's called. There you go.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, people the these good death metal bands are musically are fucking fantastic, isn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they can, play anything probably. So that might be worth checking out for me, especially with the clean vocals and thrash.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the sound of the album like? Is it, because it was quite a while ago now? Was it sound like?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the production's really good. I mean, obviously we're talking 99. I think, I mean, for me, it's certainly not like I know some of the Death albums suffered a little bit from production wise, because obviously they're done cheaply. As I say, the first album I think he might have even recorded himself. I might be wrong on that, I can't remember, but the production's not great. But this is proper. I think on EMI even, I think this label might be that it was recorded on. So yeah, it's proper. Should have some money behind it. And I know this was his passion. I think he sort of wanted to move away from the whole Death thing. And I think if he'd not died, this is probably the direction he would have maintained going in, put it that way. And it's quite a highly regarded album, actually. If you look it up, the reviews of it is pretty good.
Cool, sounds good, mate. I might actually check that one out. I do like a bit of thrash, as you know. So talking of thrash, my number 2. Now I love this band's last few albums, but I never went back further. Testament. So their 8th album, actually, The Gathering. This song's called Down for Life, and it's brilliant. I'll tell you what, I was surprised at listening to this, because I don't know about you guys, but where we're old, I'm older than most, but 1999 still doesn't seem that long ago to me.
No.
It's just weird. It's just that when you say 1999, it's not that long ago, but obviously it is. But to hear this song, you could put this on one of their last 3 or 4 albums. I thought that the way people talk about their last few albums is a revitalization into what, how good they are now. They're better than they sort of ever have been, apart from the beginning of Testament. But man, this sounds huge, this song. I can't believe how good it sounds, and it just shows you they have been making great music as well through them 90s without me knowing, really, and just thinking, I was really happy I went to listen to this. So it's fast. It's heavy, obviously. It's Testament. It's like Metallica, classic Metallica, and I don't mean Metallica. Later on, you're talking Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets stuff here, really heavy. And I know they sort of took on that sort of sound of them. Vamps, obviously, about somewhere crying. Sorry about that. It's amazing
Testament
stuff.
Fan as well, yeah. Testament fan for Vamp, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. You heard me talk about Testament. But man, it's really heavy. But it's something about Testament I like. They're right on the edge, and I go on about extreme vocals, don't they? It's like they're right on the edge of not going into that. You can hear everything. You hear him singing everything. Although he's got quite a harsh voice, it's not too much. So a great song. Down for Life is brilliant. And Testament are great, aren't they? Brilliant band. There you go. My track 2.
Cool. See, this show is really, it's really bringing everybody new music. It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah, and I was thinking when Jan was talking about, that the deaf singers,
Control Denied, yeah.
Control Denied, and then you're talking about Black Crows, and it's just fucking excellent. I love it. Slaughter, of course, Slaughter. I mean, we've already had a bit of Alice in Chains, so there's a lot of different.
BKY.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on. Number 3 for me is another blast from the past, who not really a past because they never quit. Crocus. This is called Total 13, which you would imagine is their 13th album. You'd be right. This is the second of 2 albums that doesn't feature their mainstay vocalist, Mark Storacci. He left for a couple albums. This features a singer called Carl Sentence, who comes from a Welsh band called Persian Risk, which is where Lemmy found Phil Campbell back in when he was filling in guitar players. So they were an early 80s band. But yeah, so that's where they got this singer. This song is so great. The verses are seriously AC/DC, absolutely. But then it kicks into this like really melodic chorus So it's a juxtaposition of those two things that just make it great, because you're not really expecting the super catchy chorus, because it's just kind of riffy and AC/DC, but then it just kicks in, kind of like AC/DC do these days with that Through the Mist of Time and that kind of shit,
Yeah.
So it's just a great track from, just an album that didn't do anything, obviously. Round 13 it's called. The track's called Break Free. Sorry, don't think I mentioned that. So yeah, Crocus still keeping the dream alive.
Are they still going now, or are they completely gone?
Yeah. Well, they started a farewell tour right before COVID. So they've kind of put that on hold. So they're still, I think, touring that, but not so much in England or the States. I think it's more Europe, where they've always been more popular. I was supposed to see them support Saxon in Manchester, and that kept getting delayed, first with Biff's heart attack and then all this kind of stuff. By the time they finally secured a date after COVID, Crocus aren't on the bill anymore. So I just got a refund on my ticket, because that was the main reason I was going. Not that I don't like Saxon, but I don't live in Manchester. It'd be like this whole big thing. And I was going to see Crocus. I've never seen them before, and last tour, but that's not going to happen yet.
Oh shit. All right. Okay. Good though, mate. Good though. I think that, there's a lot of buzz about Crocus, obviously. People love them. I always say, don't know, the sites that you look at, and they all, Crocus videos always put up on Facebook sites and stuff like that. So I think if they brought out something new, I'm not saying it would sell millions, because nothing does anymore, but it would definitely get a buzz, I think, if they brought something.
Have a bit of a buzz. Yeah. I mean, and I think also these bands that like Saxon that just stuck to their guns, kept releasing new music through the 90s and 2000s, when people really weren't buying this kind of commercial hard rock. I think now they've gone through the other end, and they're really respected for sticking it out and for putting out records all this time. So
yeah, totally agree. Well, good one, mate. Excellent. What you got in, Jam? Number 3?
Yeah, going to your favourite band who you're going to see next year, and that's the Foo Fighters. And from the album There Is Nothing Left to Lose, track 3 is Learn to Fly. I'm going to be honest here, it's not my favourite song on the album. Everybody knows it's one of their classic songs. I know you guys won't pick anything else off it, so I'm going to mention the other songs. I would rather have had Stacked Actors, Breakout, Generator next year. There's some great songs on this album.
Oh, he's fucked my list up now. I was going to pick one of them, but I'll change it. It's all right.
But no, it's an okay song. I mean, it's a good song. I just wouldn't have, if I had a choice. But it's like an all killer. You know that when there's lots of songs you like on an album, you can just pick. You have to slot it in where it fits in, don't you? So, Learning to Fly, which is a very poppy, Foo Fighters song. I think we all know it. The video's quite funny. So cool.
Yeah,
Learning to Fly.
It's a funny video.
Is that the fucking Mentos one?
Sorry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, a good video. Anyway, great band. Going to see them next year. Brilliant. And anyway, so my track 3 is.
She doesn't watch these shows, so you don't really have to.
She doesn't. My missus.
She would never know.
Just let everyone know. My missus said for her birthday, I'm taking her to see the Foo Fighters. She loves them. I don't love them so much, but she doesn't watch like Dominic does. She doesn't watch me at all. She hears me enough doing them, so she doesn't want to watch me, so she won't listen to this and say the Foo Fighters ain't very good at all. But there you go.
Just to be clear, though, I like
pick one of their songs on the list. Godly, you're so disrespectful.
Sorry, I mean they're good at what they do. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. A great live band, though, I've been told, and I'm going to see.
Brilliant. Yeah, they are good.
Hopefully they'll bring some 8-year-old child on stage to do something cute.
Very good. Yes, it is very cute. Thanks for that. Anyway, I love them really. Anyway, my track 3, Rage Against the Machine. So from their Battle of Los Angeles album, and Calm Like a Bomb, just does what it says in the title. Really, pretty fucking explosive. This song. It's off the 3rd album, and for me, it's their. I like it. It's their 2nd best album for me. I fucking love this album. I think it's great. I think it was a bit of a return to form after Evil Empire, which I liked, but I thought it was a little bit of a disappointment for me, but I think this is a great album, and this is an excellent song. Everything you expect from Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains, even Rage Against the Machine. Really aggressive.
Same difference to me. No, I'm kidding.
They are slightly different.
I'm kidding.
But no, I just love it. It was a single, I think, and it's just brilliant. Absolutely love it. But there you go. Calm Like a Bomb. Sure, most.
Is that Come Like a Bomb or Calm Like a
Calm?
Bomb?
Sorry, Calm Like a Bomb. So in other words, not very calm. In other words.
Oh, right.
C-A-L-M. Yeah, C-A-L-M.
Cool. Just want to get that right.
Yeah, sorry, that's my English language is fucking terrible.
Well,
sorry
I thought Come Like a Bomb would be a whole other context that Rage Against the Machine doesn't really delve into, you know.
That'd be an 80s sleaze track, that one. Come Like a Bomb.
Right on.
Anyway, right, okay. Track 4.
Surely that'd be the last track, wouldn't it? It'd be the climax of the album, surely.
Oh
no shit! Look at that.
Lovely.
Bringing down the tone. I fucking love it. Okay. Number 4 is a historic, monumental recording that many people don't even know happened. As you said, some compilations have new tracks. Yeah. So Anthrax released Return of the Killer A's.
Yep.
There's a cover of The Temptations' Ball of Confusion, which is a great song. It's a duet between Joey Belladonna and John Bush.
Okay, now.
At the time, they were contemplating doing a tour with the two singers.
Yeah.
Kind of a dual tour thing. Never came to fruition, but they recorded this track in anticipation of that. And it is super cool to hear them trade licks. I love the song anyway. Being kind of a 60s R&B fan, but of course they rock this up quite a bit. It's a slow song anyway. It's a real kind of it's good for a metal cover because it's kind of a head bopper. But yeah, it's great. It's great to hear them sing together. They share the chorus and everything. It's very cool. So yeah, John Bush and Joey Belladonna joining forces.
Cool. Very cool. I haven't heard that, mate. Brilliant.
No.
Okay, what you got, Jen?
Track 4. Right, now we were talking about it earlier. This is how we know we're sort of getting into the, as you say, 1999 doesn't sound like it was a long time ago to me, but I guess it's 22 years ago. But so this is a band that obviously we talk about these days, and that's Slipknot on their debut album called Slipknot. And it's the song Wait and Bleed, which is my favourite Slipknot song, I think. It's the first song I heard by Slipknot. It's the first song I got into by Slipknot. Am I a massive Slipknot fan? No, not particularly. I've seen it a few times.
Bam obviously is because he's around here. He's heard Slipknot. He's come back. He likes it. He likes Testament and Slipknot.
That's it. He's a proper
That's one hard fucking cat right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
I like that song, by the way. I like that song, Wait and Bleed. I think it's great. I remember it came out.
I think they always play it live. I think it's I do like a lot of Slipknot stuff. I don't like a lot of things. Some of the songs that they do are classics. I suppose like that. Is it Sick? Is it? And there's a couple of songs just noise. A lot of their songs are noise. But the good songs are good songs for me. So I know we probably get slated now because everybody thinks Slipknot Walk on Water, but some of their songs aren't great.
Always preferred Stone Sour, to tell you the truth. I've always preferred Stone Sour. I think they're a lot better, in my opinion, obviously.
But I mean, it was great at the time, coming out with the mask and the gimmick, and all the stage show, and obviously the clown, and they were great to see live at a time when metal wasn't big. It was great to put metal back on the map in a way. You had Marilyn Manson, I suppose, with the visuals, and Slipknot come out as well, and it's put metal back on the scene, I think, and I think that's a good thing. So there you go.
Look how big they've become, because I mean, I always think about when these bands that are huge that headline Download and all the European festivals, when they finally go because they're too old to fucking do it, the likes of Maiden and bands like that, Metallica, Slipknot are one of them bands that can headline, aren't they? They're still but they have been going a lot. Fucking hell, it's just like you said, it's amazing if you think about how long they still seem like a newish band to me, but all them years. But I always get worried about that. Who's going to headline once all these, they go?
There isn't many, yes. I mean, Avenged Sevenfold are obviously up there, although I don't understand why they're so popular personally. But yeah, there's not very few bands now. I can't think of any modern-ish bands who are going to take over. There's semi-big bands, but
Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Well, they're obviously, as we know, they're old as well. This is their second or third album already in '99, so just as old as everybody else.
Yeah, and they only would headline something like Glastonbury anyway. Yeah, that sort of music, isn't it?
Reading, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I've had enough goes at Foo Fighters. It's me, innit, for my track 4, I think.
Yeah. So,
this fucking cat, I'm going to kill it. I'll tell you what, my missus is right. Kill the cat, she said last week, and I'm starting to agree. Anyway, Metal Church. Here you go. So, I mean, their 6th album with Metal Church. Honestly, with Metal Church, I only had the Dark album way back when I was a kid, and I got the Dark album and I loved it, but I never followed through with anything else for some reason. So I've had to revisit this. I heard a couple of bits on YouTube and stuff, some of their newer stuff, and it sounded good as well. But this is off their 6th album, Masterpiece, and it's called Kiss for the Dead. Now, David Wayne, apparently this is his first album back since the Dark. So he left the band and came back for this album. And to tell you the truth, when I was listening to it, it's a slow but heavy track. Gets heavy in the chorus, very epic. It did remind me of Watch the Children Pray, which is on the Dark album, which I absolutely love. It's sort of that similar sort of structure of the song, that sort of clean guitar and then goes heavy. Very cool. And it's sort of like a really good solo in this that speeds up, the rhythms up, speeds up for the solo. It's a brilliant song, actually. Metal Church, Kiss for the Dead, sorry. Great. Check that out. So obviously it's a lot of catalogue that I haven't heard of Metal Church, but good band. Really good band, what I've heard. Come here, you little fucker.
Okay, moving on.
Come on, Vamp. Up on my lap. Come on, let's go and see everybody. There you go. He just wanted to see everyone, didn't he? That was all. There you go. Wants a massage. You can't stroke this cat like a normal cat. You have to massage, viewers. This is what you have to do. You have to massage him because he hasn't got any fur. There you go. He's got a little bit of fur on his nose.
I am absolutely biting my cheek so I don't say anything inappropriate.
Yeah, I was just thinking this.
I know what you're going to say. He's bald.
God, it's so difficult.
Yes, I know. He's after a fly now. This is Vamp's hunting because he doesn't go out because he's an indoor cat. So he stays indoors, but he hunts flies. That's his life. No mice, just flies. There you go. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So Metal Church. Track on this will all stay in the video, by the way, because it's all good fun. All right, so track 5.
All right, yeah.
Track 5,
Appreciate
guys.
that.
Yeah, that's all
right. Track 5, we're on to Rat. Truthfully, it's my least favorite album in the catalog. But
is this Rat?
That's what this shows up.
Rat, yeah.
Rat. Yeah.
But this show is about finding hidden gems in maybe albums that you're not too thrilled with. I love this song. It's called Breakout. Truth be told, it sounds a bit more like Arcade than Rat. That's the thing that I didn't, and a lot of people didn't really like about this album, is that it didn't have that Rat feel. It wasn't, it just didn't have that kind of groove that they, it's definitely a rock band in 1999 being a bit more stripped down and that sort of thing. So, but a good track is a good track, and it's still Stephen Pearcy, and it's still rock and roll. It's just, it just doesn't have that kind of almost they were kind of a technical glam metal band, to be honest. Warren's very, anyway. Yeah. But this is a great tune. But as I said, it sounds more like Arcade than Rat. But it's called Breakout, track number 5 off of Rat.
If it's a good track, it's a good track, mate. Whether it sounds like Arcade or Rat, so it doesn't matter. Does it? That's what this show's all about, isn't it? It ain't about how good the band are compared to what they were or anything like that. It's about a good track. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a good song regardless. So there you go.
Good one, mate. Okay, Jan, what you got?
Okay, well, we'll go to an album that you've mentioned already, and that's the Battle of Los Angeles, and it's Rage Against the Machine, and it's the track. I think it's the other single, probably the lead single, actually, Sleep Now in the Fire.
Yeah.
Once again, yeah, I mean, the album I think is a lot better than Evil Empire. Some good tracks on it, but I mean, I don't think any album touches the first album personally.
Agreed. Yeah.
And Sleep Now in the Fire's just got a really cool groove to it. As sing-alongable as you can get for rap metal bands, if you like. Good chorus.
For fuck's sake! Don't you go up there! Don't you go up there! You knock all my records over, you prick! Get off! Get off! Good track, guys. Yeah, I love that.
Wow.
Oh my God, my cat's so entertaining, I tell you. I absolutely love him. I love you, Van. Anyway, yeah. By the way, let's get back to that track. I will get back. I am that fucking hurt, by the way. Claws dug right in. But that's a bit different for Rage Against the Machine, that song as well. It's a bit more like a rock and roll sort of vibe going over that. So it was a very cool song, actually. Absolutely love it. Great video and all. Is that the one where they're outside? They fucking held up the fucking
bank or something, wasn't
bank
it?
Or something.
Federal building or something.
They didn't hold it up. They didn't hold it up. They videoed in outside it, and it's basically made the stock market. They're trying to make the stock market crash or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Something like that, yeah. No, that's the one. Yep, that's the video. Very cool song. As you say, it's more of a not so rap, is it? It's more of just a metal song, if you like. But there you go. Cool.
And they pick on John Schaefer. All he did was, Anyway, enough of that, because I get abused for wearing Iced Earth t-shirts. So I shouldn't say anything about that. Okay, great track, by the way. It's my turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I'm just getting a bit with the cat. He's gone upstairs now. He's going to cry though. But there you go. I'm going to a band that Tony Harnell appeared in, a band called Westworld. So
Westworld.
Some people might not have heard of them. It's a song called Shame, and it's on their self-titled debut album. So they only had 2 albums out, actually. This one and another one a bit later on. So this is a ballad. Of course it is. Of course it's a ballad. Clean guitar through the verses, but an absolutely brilliant chorus. I mean, I did have this album back then, downloaded it whatever quite a while ago, but hadn't heard it for a while, and this is an absolutely brilliant song. Excellent solo as well. Tony Harnell was you can see if you follow him like on Facebook or whatever, he's really proud of these 2 albums, and you can understand why. They're really good, a really good part of what he's done. More experimental, away from TNT, I'd say. Sometimes a little bit rock and roll as well, some of the songs, but definitely in that melodic hard rock sort of genre. But he's just as brilliant as usual. He's got a great voice, and it's a great song, a ballad, like I said. And Westworld's the band, so if you want to check them out, you don't know about Tony Harnell's other projects, it's a brilliant song. There you go, Westworld. All right, guys.
Right on.
Yeah. I don't know about the name. I don't know about the name of the band. I'm not really sure, but
that's one of my favorite films of all time. So I'm not gonna.
Well, the original, obviously, the series. I don't know. I've never seen that, but the film is brilliant, isn't it?
The series is pretty good, but it's a bit of a it's twisted my head up a little bit. The first series, it's trying to be too clever, I think. But
the Yul Brynner film, yes, got to agree with that one, Don.
Yeah,
love that. Shits me up, that fucking robot. Anyway.
Did you say
shits me up? Yeah, a little bit.
That's one of my favorite lead quotes. I just love it.
I was a lot younger then, but watching that robot like killing everyone, did me head in a little bit. Okay.
It's like the trees and on the black metal album covers.
Yes, exactly.
Shits you up.
They do shit me up, yeah. Evil. Okay. Don, what you got, mate, for track
People are
6?
going to think we're drunk or something on this episode.
Oh,
Okay. So, speaking of being drunk and crazy, I swear there will be a year coming that I won't mention Ginger from Wild Hearts, but this isn't a year. He has this is a side project, only one album, one and done, side band called Clam Abuse. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Fucking hell.
I don't know. This was this is basically just a little studio thing he had with this guy named Alex Kane, who was in a band that was signed to Warner Brothers back in the early 90s called Life, Sex, Death. They were actually an LA band, and their big shtick was they had this guy, the singer, his name was Stanley. And the story was that he was just some homeless guy that they got and they put in the band. Because he would wear like these off-kilter, like nerdy glasses and just be all like this, and it was a whole shtick, but it was kind of funny. Anyway, so they've been broken up for a couple of years. Apparently, he knew Ginger somehow, so they made this record. The record is called "Stop Thinking." I'm not saying it's an amazing record. They're kind of just tinkering around the studio and being goofy for a lot of it, but there's a song called "Falling in Bed with You," which is fantastic. It's very Beatles-esque, so you're gonna love it. It's very kind of melodic. It's definitely not Wild Hearts. No way. I mean, maybe if Wild Hearts, one of those songs you did like acoustically or something, maybe. It's almost even a little bit Brit-poppy, maybe, if you want to go that far. But
this ain't one that I'm going to listen to. That I don't think.
No, it's on it to it.
Nah, I wouldn't want you to.
Good.
Anyway, just because I love Ginger and this is a one-off and it's a kind of a rare album. You don't really see it around very much. Clam Abuse, Falling in Bed with You.
Clam Abuse. Yeah. Don't know why there's all sorts of weird like fucking visions about
connotations. Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
I'm with you, buddy.
Thanks for that, mate. Clam Abuse, check them out. Okay,
that's right.
Jan, what you got, mate?
I don't know if they're on Spotify or not.
Yeah. Goodbye, mate. Excellent. Okay. Jan,
okay, yeah, I'm going to a band I really like, and my said before, my brother's favourite band, Incubus, from their possibly their best album. A lot of people say that. It's called Make Yourself. And the song is Stella. Once again, same as the Foo Fighters, actually. There's actually better songs on here than Stella. I like Stella. It's a great song. I don't know if any of you guys have got any Incubus on this list.
No. I have heard a few of their songs years ago. But,
Okay. The song Privilege, the warmth, and the song I really wanted to have was Drive, but that's track 8. I couldn't have it on. Drive is one of my favourite Incubus songs. Pardon me as well. Track 12. I had a couple of track 12.
Oh, you're right there, Doc.
Sorry, I've been up all night.
Right, go on. Sorry, mate. Yeah, this was the album. Sorry, mate. This was the album that I heard because I remember the song Drive. So this was the album that I heard way back when, for sure.
Yeah, Drive. The Drive's a great song. I shouldn't be talking about that, but Stella's a great song as well. I mean, the whole album is really good. It's yeah, I think there's a couple of albums after this I really like as well. But I mean, it is then known as their biggest album, and say there are real awesome songs there. That probably 4 or 5 of them songs, including Stella, probably played live every time they play. Incubus, as I say, difficult to categorise what sort of band they are, but you know, I think that's good because they've come out in this time, you know, in the change of music, but they're still going now and they're still just playing rock, and they didn't want to be categorised, didn't want to be pigeonholed. They're just Incubus are unique, and anybody who's not heard them should check them out. Obviously, it's not really heavy or anything like that, but it's certainly
a bit funky, isn't it? It's a little bit funky, from what I remember.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe the early stuff. It's not too much. It's mostly rock, really. Yeah, so there's a bit of turntables, a bit of scratching in there, if you like, but it doesn't detract from it. There's no rapping in there particularly. There's perhaps that sort of style singing a little bit, but yeah, just a rock band, really. Just a cool rock band. There you go. Incubus, underrated and much loved from people who do like it.
Definitely. Okay.
Sorry,
mate.
Is this track about the beer, Stella?
Unfortunately not, no.
grabbed a pint of Stella. Is that the chorus?
No,
Good
I
one,
don't
mate.
think. I think they're a bit too clean cut for that. They don't look like the type who go out and get shit faced, unfortunately, on wife beater.
Yeah. Yuri Gellers. Right, okay. Yeah. I'm going to, which sort of didn't plan it to work out like that. It sort of did. I've got another Tony Harnell track. So TNT this time. Though.
You're really pushing the boundaries here, buddy.
So he was obviously busy this year. They brought out the Transistor album TNT, and the last album that I spoke about, which was Firefly. These sort of albums very much go hand in hand. They're sort of looked at as probably the weakest TNT albums, and they were influenced a little bit from them times, a little bit, but they still was. If you actually listen to the albums now, I think you say this a lot, Dom. When they were categorized, a lot of these bands into that period because they brought albums out and they were slightly influenced. People just think, no, that's their grunge album or that's their new metal album. But when you listen to it,
I have heard this about this TNT album. Transistor is their new metal album. I've heard that before you even mentioned it. So yes, the rumors out there.
Yeah, look, it's influenced a little bit, but no. When you actually hear it now, you realise that's a load of bullshit. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's not the best album, neither was the one before. And like I said about the Firefly one, I think Tony Harnell himself said he thinks that half of the tracks off of each of them would make a brilliant album. And he admits that, it weren't the best thing, but it was still good. But this one, Because I Love You, it's called, and it's not a ballad, even though it sounds like it, the title. It's very upbeat, actually. And it's just really melodic, and I think the production as well might have been why it was dragged into that times. It was a bit rawer. You remember the TNT production used to be quite polished, didn't it? So at this time, when it was a bit of a rawer production, along with those slight influences from the times. But Because I Love You is just a brilliant track. I think it would have fitted perfectly on one of their classic albums. But there you go. And then they obviously did revisit their classic sound a bit later on, which we'll talk about in future years. So Because I Love You, TNT, great track from Transistor.
Cool.
All right. Track 7, guys.
Oh, what do I got? Oh, number 7, talking about another band that stuck through the hard times. Mr. Big is still around. This is their 5th album. This is the first of 2 albums that Paul Gilbert has left temporarily. So they brought in Richie Kotzen. So Richie Kotzen is playing and singing on Mr. Big, the next 2 albums. This one is the album's called Get Over It. This song is called How Does It Feel? And boy, what a fucking song this is. It's not a ballad and it's not a heavy rocker. It's kind of that mid spot that we love. But wow, what a chorus. And these guys are great songwriters, and it's a good thing that they were recognized in other circles, especially Japan. We talk about Japan a lot, but these guys are superstars in Japan. I think they've made a live record for every tour that they've ever done in Japan. They have like 10 live records in Japan. But yeah, great tune. I'm a personal fan of Richie Kotzen. I love when he comes into bands like Poison and things and brings his style, a bit bluesier style and stuff, and he has great vocals. So he definitely did a great job on this Get Over It by Mr. Big. How Does It Feel? The track.
Good one, mate. Good one. Excellent. Blast from the past again, Mr. Big. So there you go. Okay.
Another band that never quit.
Yeah. Good on them. Okay, what you got, Jam? Track 7?
Yeah, couldn't be more different. Going to one of my favourite bands, and once again, one of these newer bands. Although this is their 3rd album now, I believe, could even be 4th album. This is Opeth with a Still Life album, one I talked about last time, because a lot of people say Blackwater Park is their best album, Opeth, which it hasn't come out yet at this point in 1999. But a lot of big Opeth fans think that Still Life is their best album, better than Blackwater Park. It's a concept album like My Arms Your Hearse was. And this is the last track. There's 7 tracks on it. It's called White Cluster. It's an epic closing track. As you can imagine from Opeth, this is when they're starting to really become proggy, very proggy, and very, experimental, I guess you'd say. This is the closing epic track. And It's got a really, really cool riff to it. It's got a bit of not shouting, but a bit of distorted vocals, the sort of stuff that Lee doesn't like at the start. But then it goes into this is the same as All Open. It goes into a beautiful, passage in the middle, and it slows down. There's time changes here and there, and it's just a if you can get over those lyrics, some of them bits of distorted vocals, there's some Opeth have done some great earlier songs. I mean, now they don't do any of that at all, of course, but there's some great songs out there, and White Cluster is a great end to the album. And I say it's got a brilliant riff. Do 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 do. It's sort of, I say, it reminds me of something. I can't think what it is. It's some sort of television program.
They were what?
Do 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 do.
Yeah, something like that. It's that sort of riff. I don't know. It reminds me of something.
I was going to say the Magic Roundabout, but I mean, I don't know.
That's it. It reminds me of something like a television program or something. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say myself.
Hey,
it's something like, but yeah, go on. They're Swedish. I'm sure they haven't seen the Magic Roundabout. But,
no, just out of because it's the last song, and did you say there's only 7 songs on the album? How long is it about? Is it
it's not that long. It's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's not too long. Just a short Maiden song then. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just get warmed up for Maiden.
Do we know what the concept was? Is it based on a book or something, or?
No, I didn't. I haven't read the narrative of it. It'll be I'm sure there's a lot of death involved in it and horror. I'm expecting.
Oh yeah, what's the album cover like? Is it scary?
Yeah, you would like
it.
It's sort of got it's sort of reddish, and it's got figures on it and scary trees. So you wouldn't like.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Not the trees.
Fuck's sake! That and Evil Dead. That's why it's the Evil Dead trees, isn't it? That's what it is. Anyway.
Oh, those rapey Evil Dead trees.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we've got a lot of film. Films today. I've got this is a music channel. Anyway, okay. I'm actually going to a ballad because I love ballads, as you know, when they're done well. But it's a band that I've mentioned every time they've had an album out. I probably won't mention these later on because all of a sudden I'm going to get an influx of these sort of bands because we're getting back into this sort of melodic rock now. Jaded Heart, again, the German band. This is off their album 4. Guess what album it is? Guess in their catalog.
It's their 5th.
4th?
Yes, it's their 4th album. It's just a brilliant ballad. It's quite long. It's just over 6 minutes. Michael Bormann, the singer. I've noticed this. Bormann must be quite a popular German name because I keep hearing it pop up in other bands. Bormann must be a popular surname. So there you go, a bit of trivia for you there. Any Germans watching, let me know how popular it is. But he's just got, for a ballad especially, because he's got that early Bon Jovi vibe to him. He's just brilliant on this. Outstanding. This band are really great. And like I said, I think within that genre of music, for me, they was the outstanding band at this time. So check them out, Jaded Heart. Done some great covers as well and when they do cover, I know we're not talking about that. When they do cover a song, they always go for the pop songs and beef them up, which is what we like.
All right.
So there you go. Jaded Heart, With Your Eyes from 4, the 5th album.
What a discography Jaded Heart has.
They have.
Okay. Not even to mention Jaded Hard.
Exactly. Okay, mate. Track 8. We're nearly there.
Number 8. Okay. Number 8, I'm going with LA Guns. This is their one and only album with Jizzy Pearl from Love Hate as the singer. It's called Shrinking Violet. Saw these live, and Jizzy was great with him, really good. This song is called Decide. I'm not going to say this is a fucking Sex Action or something. It's a bit more down tempo and 1999-ish. I'm not going to say it's grunge or anything, but it's it's not fucking Kiss My Love Goodbye or whatever. But Jizzy's a great singer, and he is singing his ass off on the song. It's definitely worth a listen to if you've liked a bit of LA Guns in the past. You know who Jizzy Pearl is. it's an interesting, album. It's definitely worth a shot to see if you dig it. It's called Shrinking Violet. LA Guns, song's called Decide.
Just out of interest, what do you think of the new LA Guns song? Have you heard it?
Haven't heard it.
I think you'll like it.
You're acting like I watch your videos.
No, I'm asking if you've heard the LA Guns song. I'm new to LA Guns, so I don't know why I am.
But which LA Guns is it?
No, it's the one with Tracy Guns in.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. So they brought out 3 songs so far from this new album.
Funnily enough, the Tracy Guns, Phil Lewis LA Guns, which have been back together for like 5 years now. Saw them live. They were great. I think their records so far haven't been great. And then Steve Riley had his LA Guns. They released a new record last year, and that album was fucking amazing. And it was for Steve Riley and a bunch of new kids.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of it. Did you like this new song?
Yeah, it's great. It's quite rocking, actually. Quite a fast song, but it's really, I don't know. They just seem to be really energetic song. Like it was fucking like, really had some like energy behind it. Like there was a sort of.
I can't say I'm anticipating a great record just based on the last 2, but maybe they've pulled something new out. Maybe they heard Steve Riley's LA Guns and said, okay, maybe we better write a better album.
They're doing something interesting, which they're dividing it into sets of different styles. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but they're doing this like rockier style and maybe a sort of a slower ballady type part of it. But I suppose you can do that with music these days, especially as most people stream. It doesn't really matter, does it? You can have these separate suites or sets, they call them.
Little EPs or something, yeah.
Sounds interesting though, but yeah.
Okay.
Every song, I've liked every song so far. But there you go.
I'll get to it.
Yeah. Okay, Jam, what you got, mate?
Okay, going to a big boy now. We're going to Metallica, and they released this year a live album, S&M, which with a symphonic LA, was it the LA orchestra, something like that, anyway. But this is a new song that they did specifically for this album, and it's No Leaf Clover, which can only be found on here, I believe. Now, I've done a bit of research, but I can't find it. I'm not sure if it's ever been recorded as a studio version or not. But
it's on Load or Reload, one of those?
No, it's a new song for this album. And like I say, whether it's been recorded afterwards as a studio version, I don't know. So perhaps if anyone wants to mention it in the comments, they can do. But
wow.
Yes, it's a new song. Yeah, I like it. It's definitely got that Load Reload vibe to it. It's that sort of Metallica style, and it's just quite a cool song. I mean, it goes down quite well in the recording because obviously nobody in the audience will have heard it before because it was new. But yeah, it's just a pretty cool groove, and I've heard it a few times, and often wonder what album it was on. It's like, oh, I don't recognise that song, and then afterwards I found out it was on S&M Live. So.
Oh, wow.
That's a weird one, isn't it? To do something like that with an orchestra and fucking do a new song. It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, yeah.
It's good. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a good song.
That's a first. Is that a first? We've got a live song, unreleased live song.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
I think so.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. I think I'll have to look up into the rules that Jam sent me to see if that's actually allowed.
Well, it doesn't happen very often.
No, not often. No.
It wouldn't happen often. No, the first time a live song was played unknown.
So debut of a new song live. Yeah, weird.
That's cool. That is cool, though. Yeah, good, Jam. Thanks, mate. Okay. This next one, I got a little help from my mate Mark. By the way, what do you think of his haircut? All right, wasn't it? Mark Clover's haircut?
Yeah.
It looked amazing. But then he put the cap back on. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose when you haven't done it for all them years, perhaps.
Live it, man. Live it.
I agree. I agree.
Made a decision. Yeah, go for it. No, I thought it looked amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah, well done, Mark, on the haircut.
Yeah.
So
welcome to the club.
He's helped me out twice with this, actually. So with my list, he's actually helped me out with 2 songs, which the other one I mentioned. But a while ago, when he first started listening to my channel, when he subscribed, he was sending me some stuff from his favourite vocalist,
Tony Martin.
Who did you say?
Tony Martin.
Yes. Did someone say something different then? What did
I said Doogie White.
Boogie White.
I just wanted him to say Doogie.
Yeah.
That Doogie White is his second favourite vocalist. All right.
All right.
But Tony Martin is his first favourite vocalist. So he started sending me stuff that wasn't with Black Sabbath that he's done, because Tony Martin does a lot of stuff, projects and stuff with other guitarists and stuff like that. And he was quite a busy boy this year, Tony Martin. So he did something with a guy called Dario Mollo, Italian guitarist, and it's the album, or it's called The Cage. The album's called The Cage, and there's a subsequent Cage 2, Cage 3 as the years go on. They sort of got heavier as these albums went on, but this track itself is quite a cool AOR track, but with heavy guitar, if that makes sense. It's got an AOR feel, but the guitar's right up in the mix. Tony Martin's just amazing across these albums, actually. Production, and I said this when Mark first sent me this, I haven't even got the name of the fucking song written down.
Well, we know it's track 8. I mean,
yeah.
What an absolute prick. Anyway, sorry about that. I haven't got the name of the song written down. So
Mark is gonna fucking have your high.
Mark's gonna kick my ass, and he's also going to mention the song in the comments, hopefully. Anyway, that's embarrassing, isn't it? That's not good. That's not good. So I apologise to the viewers as well. Check out track 8 from The Cage.
I don't want it. It's so good. I can't remember the name of it.
But remember, I mean, this when Mark sent this to me, I heard it once or twice, the album, and I thought that sounds really good. But obviously, it was mixed up with all my fucking thousands of other albums. But it's a great album and a great song. Track 8 is. It's called Track 8. Very catchy. Very AOR, but with heavy guitar. There you go.
Very memorable.
He's just digging his own hole, isn't it? It's so memorable. Can't remember the name of it.
The whole album's great, actually. So I don't even have to say track 8's great. The whole track, the whole album.
Yeah, check out the whole album.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The Cage, Dario Mollo, and Tony Martin. There you go.
Well, I'm afraid to ask my question. I was going to ask you, I know it's called The Cage, but what's the actual artist?
Well,
like,
this is the thing.
Band name,
I thought because I had to look. It's a bit confusing, even the album cover. It confused me so. It confused me so much. I couldn't even get the name of the fucking song. But I always thought it was called The Cage. Them two together was called The Cage. But I think it's Dario Mollo and Tony Martin is the name of the band, and it's The Cage is the album, from what I can see.
They should just call it The Cage, mate. That would have been easier.
Exactly. I don't know if it changed on the future albums. They called themselves The Cage once they was a little bit, I'm not to say established, because this probably sold fuck all. But what I must say about this, and another one I'm going to talk about, the production was great, and I just wish some of the bands now would use. It's just an amazing, huge sounding album. You just think a project like that obviously didn't have loads of money behind it. It sounds fucking huge. It really does. But track 8 is my track 8.
Right on.
All right.
I don't have a problem with it. No, I don't have a problem with it at all.
And while you're talking, I'm going to check out what track 8 is, so I can just satisfy everyone, myself, I mean.
Yeah, I was
go on,
say.
you carry on, guys.
He'll just be like an observer from now on. Well, number 9 is no surprise. UDO with their 7th album, Holy. This song's called Danger. Talk about him enough on this channel. You know the score. It's a real kind of balls to the wall kind of riff. You can imagine, Danger. It's UDO. What do you want? Holy. I love him. And there you go. Brilliant new song by
UDO, by the way.
UDO,
and an even better video in it. So
I'm not going to say a word.
The song is called This Kind of Love.
Oh, just came to you, did it?
Yeah, I was just thinking, what is it called? And I noticed I did write it down. It's just under this. I got a bit confused. That was all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. This Kind of Love.
Yeah, just checking my text. All right, okay.
Okay, UDO, you all know the score.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate. And I think that new album, by the way, is going to be sounds like, I mean, if you've got 3 songs that sound like they have done so far, I think it's gonna be a classic. I really do. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
What you got in, Jam?
Right, number 9, I've gone for. It's one of them albums where basically I knew I was going to pick something off it, and I could have picked any song, so it just where it slotted into it basically. But it's a bit of a strange one because I only listened to this album last year. I don't know why I picked it up. It's Static X, by the way, and their debut classic album, Wisconsin Death Trip. I must have read something about it, and obviously Wayne Static's died, but I think maybe because they had a comeback or something, because they've got a different singer in now, I think.
Wearing a Wayne mask, it's very
yes,
odd.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but for some reason I must have decided, and I've heard this album is really good, and I don't mind a bit of industrial type, White Zombie, Rammstein type vibe to it. So I picked it up, and this just reminds me of lockdown now, because I used to go, in the dark old days when all you could do was go out for a walk on your own, you couldn't even meet with anybody, and always put my iPod in. For some reason I decided to start listening to this album, so I listened to this for months when I was going on a walk. It's only around the block, it's probably only half an hour, and I just loved the album. I straight away got into it. It's as good as the rating said, and every track on this album is brilliant. It's probably not a music that's sort of in vogue at the moment. This is 20 years ago. Industrial's not really in at the moment, particularly obviously Rammstein is still popular. But it's just got a great White Zombie vibe to it. The song's called Fix, sorry. Track 9 is Fix. But like I said, I could have picked any track. A title track is track 10, I think. And Fix is just another sing-alongable. Yeah, it's that White Zombies industrial rather than a ministry of constant noise. It's more of a groovy industrial vibe about it, and it's it's a great album. If you've not heard Wisconsin Death Trip, then check it out. It's a great album.
Cool. Excellent. Cheers, mate. Reminds me of the Great Southern Trendkill, the title.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why. There you go.
Or the Great British Trendkill, as
yeah. Brilliant.
New series from BBC coming soon. The Great British Trendkill.
I like that. It's a great title. Anyway, I'm going to a band from Switzerland. Now I've heard sporadic albums of these, and I do like their albums, their earlier stuff more, to tell you the truth. I've heard some recent stuff, and it's okay, but not as good as this Chakra. Have you guys have heard of these? They're
different from House of Shakira.
Yes, they're called
I
Chakra.
always get those two confused.
Yeah. They're sort of heavy rock, melodic, sometimes AC/DC sounding, I would say. But yeah, as I said, they're from Switzerland. This one's called All I Want. I've actually got the title of this one. All I Want is called. It's from the album called Moving Force, which is their second album. Now, I know they take it. The trouble is, this is a great medium-paced song. But the trouble is, this band get a lot of stick, and I've noticed about sounding very similar on every album. I think it's one of them, and it's either do you like that, do you want them to sound like that, or don't you? And then I think that they sound great on this album, but they carried on with this formula, whether you like it or not, over the next few years. They still are. But I just think if it's good, isn't it? Sometimes, I mean, you do need to switch it around a little bit to give someone something a little bit different. But they have stuck to their guns all the way through the years. I think they had one album where it went a bit off the rails from what they sounded like. But I think this probably, because I heard this quite a few years ago a lot, and I think this is probably my favorite album that I've heard of theirs, Moving Force. And All I Want is the track. They're really in the groove. Like, it's got that. I'm not saying it's exactly like AC/DC, but it's got that real sort of bass and drums driving sort of sound to them. Really tight sounding, if you know what I mean.
That's a really underrated, important part of a band is the rhythm section, man. If you got a shitty rhythm section, you're going to spot it in a second. But if you've got a great one, sometimes you don't even think about it because it's so good. You just got to take it for granted,
Yeah, that's what I say a lot of the time. They're just there to do something and let the rest of the vocalist and the guitarist show off. But if they're fucking up, they can't do that.
It's glaringly obvious if they're terrible. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, that's my track 9, Chakra, All I Want. There you go. The last track, guys, the closing track.
All right.
It's been fun so far. So.
Yeah, what a show this is. Okay, number 10. It's a German band called Heaven's Gate. This is one of those things that I think I found it in like a dollar bin or something, or maybe I was working at the record store and it just had come in. I'd never heard of it before. But since found out that it's their 5th album and their last one as well. So I've since gone back and got the rest of their catalog. But I was crazy about this album when it came out, just because a lot of the music that was available to me, you didn't have Spotify and stuff. A lot of music that was available to me didn't sound like this. So I played this fucking album forever. It's just traditional metal, German. They're on the SPV label, which is still going, I think. Yeah, SPV.
It is, yeah. They're saying, I did something the other day on an SPV. Is it associated with Steamhammer and SPV or something like that? Both.
Oh yeah, I think they're have mutated into one thing. Yeah, so this is 1999 and SPV is putting out traditional German metal, which is great. The band was together for 12 years as a total. This song is called Breakin' Loose, and it's from the album Energy. Breakin' Loose, it's got a real kind of Indian feel to it, sitars and stuff. But man, it's definitely my favorite song on this list, and one of the top songs of the 90s probably for me. Just I've listened to the song so many times I can't even tell you. It's just got this great vibe, great singer. It's original enough to not sound cookie cutter, but when it gets to the chorus, it's just game over. It's just fantastic. So I don't know. I would really recommend Heaven's Gate as a band, especially this song Breakin' Loose, if you just want to put it on a Spotify playlist or something, just to be curious. Oh, the more you listen to it, the more you get into it. So by the 5th listen, you're like, Jesus Christ, I got to hear that again. At least for me, anyway. So there you go.
I'm quite intrigued. I'm quite intrigued out of all the songs that have been mentioned today to hear that one.
Yeah, so, I think that I would be confident in recommending this to you. Yeah,
more than Clam Abuse.
More than Clam Abuse. Yeah, this is right up your street.
Cool. Cheers, mate. Excellent. What you got then, Jan? What's your last song, mate?
Right. It wouldn't be my list if I didn't have some Danzig on there. This is from his 6th album, Danzig 666, Satan's Child. And after the appalling 5th album, even though I still managed to pick something off it on my last list. Satan's Child is similar in a way. It still had sort of distorted vocals, not utilised in his great voice, but the songs are a lot better on here, and this song is Into the Mouth of Abandonment. It's got a sort of a slow groove to it during the verses, and then it speeds up for the chorus. Most of the lyrics, the choruses are sort of spoken rather than sang, but it's just a good album. It's a lot better than, say, after Black Acid Devil or Black Acid Evil, however you want to pronounce it. It's a bit of a better album. It's not up to Danzig. After this went on to go back to sort of more original, how he was originally sort of thing. But this album is certainly a lot better. And also it's worth noting that track 12 on here, which obviously if we had done 12, it was a great track 12. It's a song called 13, ironically. And it's the one from The Hangover. The start of the Hangover film, this is the track that plays in it. If you've seen the film, it's Danzig's 13, which is from this album. There you go. But this song, yeah, In the Mouth of Abandonment is typical of the whole album in a sense. Belly of the Beast on this album as well, which is quite a good song. So, pretty good.
Not that we want to talk about films again. I have seen the film, but I can't remember the song.
It's right at the start. It's when they're in the desert. You sort of sort of a slower one from Danzig. You'll probably know it if you hear it.
Good, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks both of you guys for your lists. My number 10. I'm going back to not Doogie White, but Tony Martin again. So this is another.
Out of your 10 songs, 4 of them have the same vocalist. Well, two have the same vocalist.
I know. So
I don't know, Jam. I think you might want to get your gavel out.
Yeah, I think.
So this is I love the Cage stuff or the Mollo Martin stuff, whatever, but this is even better. So this is another Italian guitarist. I don't know what's going on with Tony Martin in Italians, but he teamed up with this guy Oh God.
Here we go.
Guillantini. Giuntini. Guillantini, I think it's pronounced. It could be Giantini. Anyway.
G for me. Yeah.
It's called Giantini or Guillantini Project. And again, there's a load of these. This is the second one. This is the second album. And this is a song called Saved by Love.
Another one with Love in the title.
Yeah, it's not about, again, it's not a ballad. It's just over 6 minutes, and this is a brilliant song. And it talks about production on the other album. This one's even better. Honestly, this album sounds huge. It's almost a Sabbath-esque sort of one of those slow plodding, medium sort of pace sort of tracks. Again, Tony Martin sounds excellent. He's a really brilliant guitarist as well, this guy. Aldo, his actual first name, Aldo Giantini or Giantini, brilliant guitarist. And it's not just about the guitar, even though it's his sort of solo project with Tony Martin. You know what, like some of these guitarists, and they just like to show off, don't they? But it's the songwriting across this is brilliant. I really recommend, if you like Tony Martin's really strong voice and you like a sort of classic rock, but with brilliant production, this is it. I think this stood out to me when Mark sent me a load of stuff. This really stood out, the Guillantini stuff. So there's not a lot of it on Spotify as well. I think there's like one album for some reason. I think it might be this one and none of the others. So it's not that easy to come by either. But a brilliant song. Saved by Love is a real classic. And even though I missed out, got the title wrong on the track 8, I'm sure Mark will be happy with me mentioning 2 Tony Martin songs. So there you go. 2. Maybe not. I don't fucking know. All right, anyway.
Where's the Doogie Wyatt? That's what I want to know. What was Doogie Wyatt doing in 1999?
Yeah, I've got no Doogie on here, I'm afraid, but got Tony Martin twice. So there you go. That makes up for it. Have you guys got any honorables before we go?
I actually do have a few, but you know what? I'm only going to talk about one just because I love this story. So there was a kid that MTV had a reality contest called "I Want to Be a VJ." There's this 18-year-old kid named Jesse Camp who he kind of promoted himself as like a street kid, but he looked very kind of punk glam. In 99, he wore like feather boas and shit, but he looked a bit dirty as well. It later came out that he was like private schooled and grew up in Connecticut, like not even, it was all a fucking scam. But I will say, 18 years old, he won this fucking contest, and for a year or so he was really popular on MTV. They gave him his own lunchtime show, and in 99 he was bringing people on like Faster Pussycat and Sebastian Bach and Rat and Dee Snider in 99 on primetime MTV, man. So I got to give him props for that. That was really cool. So of course he gets signed to a major label and he gets to make a record. Hardly anybody has heard this because he was really an annoying kid. And I think in the history of things, people probably hate this kid, but the record was really fucking good. And I still listen to it all the time. It's almost like a Hanoi Rocks kind of Michael Monroe, Stonesy, snotty vocal kind of, that thing that I love. But good production. They brought in like Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick is on it, and like some names are on this thing. He can't sing. I mean, he can't sing. but sometimes with rock and roll, you don't need to sing. You know what I mean? And the riffs are great, and the songs are good, even though he kind of when you say that, But if Bob Dylan and Keith Richards can sing, for fuck's sake, well then let this 18-year-old kid with a feather boa wrapped around his head sing. So there you go. I want to talk about it just because I'll never have another chance to talk about the Jesse Camp record ever. And only people in America might even know who I'm talking about. And maybe didn't even hear this record because he was so off-putting as a person. So it's called Jesse Camp and the 8th Street Kids, with a Z, of course, kids with a Z.
Great story, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. With Jam, you got anything, mate?
Yeah, I don't think I could top that story, but as a few albums to I think Annihilator had Criteria for a Black Widow out, which was pretty heavy, and it's Randy Rampage came back. Randy Rampage, because he's died now, came back on vocals for this one. Not one of my favourite ones, but Buck Cherry's debut album. I quite like a bit of Buck Cherry. Lit Up's on this album. That's quite good. Def Leppard had Euphoria out. It's okay. Halloween did Metal Jukebox, which is full of cover versions, sort of older songs. Some Beatles on there for Lee to not like. Machine Head did The Burning Red, which is more new metal, groove metal. Took a bit of stick for this album, but there's some good songs on it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. They did a cover of The Police's Message in a Bottle, which is quite good. I quite like that. Megadeth released Risk. It was. Everybody hates it. You've already mentioned Rat. Stone Temple Pilots number 4. Not a big fan, Dom. I mean, I didn't think it was that great. Dom
ain't listening to you.
No, I just I don't know how I became kind of the Stone Temple Pilots fan of this channel. I mean, I've always kind of liked them, but I don't. Especially after Tiny Music, this was not good.
Okay. No, I was gonna say I thought you were a bigger fan than that, but no.
They're all right. Scott Weiland always bugged me. He was always kind of I don't know.
Yeah. And the only other one was going to be, we mentioned obviously Wasp before, and it's Eldorado come out. Not my favourite album, but Damnation Angels is on it, which is a very good song. And that was it. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I was struggling in 1999 to really, get anything together. I just will mention some artists that had some albums out that I didn't actually get to. These were on my list to explore if I had to. We have Black Label Society, yet another album. I think it's been enough one album every year, isn't it? Sonic Brew. Chris Cornell bring out Euphoria Morning, which I liked back then when he brought it out. Really mellow.
Going to change the world.
Yeah, obviously a great voice. Even better than Dom's. I did Def Leppard down here, but I wasn't into them then. I had to actually research when we did our Def Leppard blooming All Killer, So Ed Guy had Theatre of Salvation out. I like some of Ed Guy's stuff. Pretty cool. Overkill had an album out. I tried to get something off it, but some of it was a little bit too much for me. I mean, I think their new stuff is brilliant. Some of the vocals on this is even more sort of, I know they've always had that little bit of punk element in them, in that Overkill, a little bit. But some of the songs on here were a little bit too much for me, that punky sort of screaming sort of stuff. Dokken, Raise the Slate, not their best.
Red Beach on guitar, though.
Yeah, but not their best album, obviously. Pretty Maids had an album out. Anything Worth Doing is Worth Overdoing. That was probably one of the best albums out that year, to tell you the truth. But I was quite interested in getting some of these other new ones I haven't heard on. Shy had Let the Hammer Fall, British band. From obviously Tony Mills ain't with us anymore. I had Udio. I didn't get into that one. I didn't get a chance to get into that one because I've been choosing an Udio one quite regular. But I was trying.
And you knew that I'd probably mention it.
yeah, exactly. A Balance of Power had another album out that I didn't get to listen to because I was going to explore them a bit further. But Badlands Dusk, what's that about, Dom? You might know. They had an album out. Is that a compilation or?
That's the one that I talked about last year. My first track was Healer off of Dusk.
So it wasn't out in this particular year.
I think Japan was the first issue of it in '98. So you may have seen it was released maybe in the UK or something in '99.
Yeah, maybe. So I noticed that on when I'm getting my list together sometimes, then I'll see it on the following year. I'm like, oh fuck, have I fucked up or is that?
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. It's been really weirdly a weird one today with the cat and all that going on, but been fun as usual. I'll keep all that shit in. Fuck it. Why not? The cat's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, fun, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not fun for me, but it's fun for anyone who's watching us.
Ow, get off my album!
How many have we decided how many we're going for on 2000, by the way?
Looking like 10 to me. I mean, I'm open for suggestions. I'm struggling, I think, with more than 10. But I think after that, perhaps up to 12. But certainly for 2000, I think 10. We'll see.
Oh, okay. 10 sounds good to me. 10 sounds good to me. I don't really want to go. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But no, looking forward to it. As usual, everyone's been commenting. Keep them coming with 1999. My apologies to Mark for not knowing the title or not putting the title of the song down. But I'm sure he'll be all right. And we'll see you next time, guys. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
Cheers.